Hello, entrepreneurs, dreamers, business owners, and happy people with high hopes. Welcome to Cashflows with your host, Cash Matthews.
All right. Good morning from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Glad you're here. Welcome to Cashflows. I'm your host today, Cash Matthews. And today we're talking about the good life, things that happen in life. And, a lot of people, Kenneth, they get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
They have great dreams and plans and goals, but sometimes in life we just can't execute. Thus, our philosophy here at Cashflows: fire, aim, ready. And but so often people get stalled out, and they're great people with great goals and dreams, and sometimes they just need to copy off their neighbor.
There it is.
While a penalty in the third grade when your Aunt Dorothy is your teacher and you're copying off the smart kid. What I found in life is that sometimes that maybe we meet somebody, copy off of them, and answer one of those problems in life. And so we call that cash flows if you're one of those that's ever been stuck. So philosophy: fire, aim, ready. And we'll talk about things that are important here in our show. But before we do, I'd like to introduce our esteemed colleague, Mr. Kenneth Bauckham. Kenneth, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, man. Things are good.
Good.
Yeah,
I'm glad to hear it.
Having a nice time. The podcast is going phenomenal. We're up to 6 listeners now worldwide.
Right. Yeah. And we're only a minute in.
We grew 50% from last week, so I don't think Joe Rogan can even say that. Yeah, we had 4 last week and 6 this week.
Yeah, that's true.
We're smoking it, so we are on fire. All right. Well, everything good in your world?
Yeah, it is.
I've enjoyed working and doing all this, and I'm having a great time with it, just to be quite clear. But when I leave the studio, we've put in a full day, I like to go home and just do mindless things. I found out I'm good at that.
Yeah.
And was at the house last night, had some dinner with my family. And, I had about, that time frame right before dinner in bed.
Oh, yeah.
Like 6 minutes.
Yeah. Sometimes 4, 5, 6 minutes. Yeah.
Well, I had the Commodore 64.
Oh, that's right.
Fired up.
Yeah.
We were logging in.
Yep.
Things were going well, man. We were wired in, and
Yep. Just dialed right into it.
We dialed right in, man.
Yep.
And we had the dual floppy double density disc.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
From AOL.
Well, we had an extra disc from AOL. I got that in the mail, had an extra 15 minutes awarded to me. And so decided to jump in the monster truck chat room where I spend, a lot of time. Yeah, spent some time there.
Apparently.
And I've got some buddies over there. These are real buddies. People think I've made the name up. But the Red Baron was there.
Of course.
His real name's Dennis.
Yeah.
Known him since 1974. Like, we're way back friends. And
Yeah.
Stu Bob.
Right.
Stu Bob was there. And then my buddy Hink Dog. Local guy, but San Diego boy, he moved to Tulsa.
Of course.
Anyway, they're all in the chat room waiting on me because that's, kind of what we do. We have a little chat. Right. That's what chat rooms are for. And these guys are kind of enamored with you, Kenneth.
Yeah, it's almost weird, but it's okay.
They don't give a fig about me, other than we've known each other for 4.5 decades.
Yeah, right.
But they wanted to ask you a question.
Okay.
And this is from the Red Baron.
Okay.
And he's like, man, I need to know more about Kenneth Bauckham. Like, I just want to know more. So he wrote a question down, asked me to deliver it to you live in the studio. Can I read it to you?
Yes, please.
I have it written down here. Let me get to it. Okay. Oh, here it is. I got it. Hey, Kenneth, what's a guy like you doing in a nice place like this?
Oh, man. Dennis, a.k.a. the Red Baron, coming in clutch with that question.
That was clutch, man.
That is awesome. So I'm actually doing something kind of fun today. I'm here filling in for the Invisible Man. He's on vacation.
Ooh, I can see that.
Yeah. Wait, what?
I can see that.
I'm not doing a very good job, am I?
Well,
being the Invisible Man.
There's so many jokes that can come from that, and 0 out of 40 are appropriate. So we'll just we will let that rest right there.
And moving right along to our guest for today.
We have a show to do.
We do. We have a show.
Hey, welcome to Cashflows. We're here with Chris Dodson. Chris, welcome.
Thank you for having me, guys.
And our studio audience approves, as they do.
Wow.
Chris is the founder of the Southern Sports Network.
That's right.
And I'm going to let our listeners, I'm going to read out where they can find you. On the interwebs at southernsportsnetwork.net, or you can buy the app on Roku, Apple, Android. You called it iOS?
iOS, that's right. And it's free. It's not even you don't even have to buy it. You
my gosh.
download it.
Just
How about
download the app. And then also you can find their app on Napster and MySpace.
And LimeWire.
And LimeWire.
LimeWire.
Yeah, big on LimeWire.
Yeah.
So
If you feel like having your computer get AIDS, get back on LimeWire, because I can tell you
Yeah.
countless times where people would go in and be like, I want to get that music scene. And next thing you know, blue screen of death.
Boom. Gone.
ooh,
Yeah.
the BSOCD, blue screen, BSOD.
BSOD.
Yeah. Okay. Well, very
B-side.
well. Well, Chris Dodson, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming over this morning. We're glad you're here. Now, before we dig into you and the Southern Sports Network, we want to, we met at the Business Owners Networking Group, which has spawned this podcast and all things cool. Give us a little bit about your time at the B.O.N.G and how you and I met, and then what the experience has been like.
Well, initially it was through Facebook, of course,
Right.
Facebook group. I was looking for some way to connect with different business owners for many different reasons, not just to sell, which I know
Right.
we have always got something to sell.
Sure.
But I wanted to get more information than just selling,
Right.
because like you say, it's aim, ready, fire. Well, just like the most of us out here, I'm kind of making it up as I go. There's no real written rule book on how to do small market sports broadcasting
Right.
in the Tulsa or Fayetteville area, or one of the many multitude of different things, and they all have their set of challenges. So I really wanted to get involved with people that are in different industries and kind of take from their toolbox to be like, I can put this somewhere useful, somewhere else. These guys kind of have an idea what they did, right? They were successful at it, but I knew it took them a lot of time and trial by fire. Not all of us are lucky on that first try, and I
Right.
certainly wasn't. So that was the first thing. Then came in, did the orientation, got to meet yourself and several other great people there.
Lots of cool people.
Here at the studios, actually. And then the first B.O.N.G event meeting, going to that and I was blown away. I never knew that the BMX Hardesty place existed,
Yeah,
especially in that area.
National BMX Hall of Fame right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
I was blown away. I come walking out there, I was like, whoa, why didn't I know about this? This would be an awesome place to broadcast, first of all. And second of all, it took me right back to 1984, 5, 6, and 7, when I started riding back then
Right.
in BMX, which I did the Diamondback, by the way.
Right.
I
Yeah.
was-
Diamondback, big brand in the 80s.
Man, it was chrome. It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Then it got stolen. But
Well,
just like
That
everything
happens.
else. Yeah, it does. But seeing that and then coming to the event itself and really getting to see one-on-one people that I've already met at one-on-ones, which you had prescribed, hey, get out there, get to know people,
See the people.
talk to them. You just never know what kind of story you're going to get.
Right.
And kind of seeing that face-to-face, it really was resonating with me. I really loved it. And I still go. I mean, I'm not going to miss, unless I'm gone out of the way of the States or what have you, I'm not going to miss these events.
Yeah, they're fun. And, that's, I think the greatest message for people trying to build a business, and it's simple and it's generally free, is see the people.
Yeah.
Just people will take you where you want to go. And you just have to engage.
Right.
And that's part of what spawned this show was people get stranded in this kind of thinking that they need everything to be aligned. And the way Kenneth and I have built businesses is just stumble forward.
Yeah.
So it's fire, aim, ready. And, it's just about launching. That's how the B.O.N.G started.
Right.
Met a dude, cleaned houses. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start a B.O.N.G group here. We'd done it before in Austin, but we were new to Tulsa. Met a guy. Said, hey, I'm going to start a B.O.N.G group. And he's like, what's a B.O.N.G group?
Well, here in Oklahoma, that could mean two different things.
Yeah. And he goes, might be interested.
Yeah.
So
He showed up being like, what do you mean? I don't need this glass partition with me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll
No,
leave it
we
home.
hit it off, and we had 3 people show, but it was see the people. And those 3 people led us to the next 5,700.
Wow.
yeah.
And, you never know in business where your next breakthrough comes from.
That's true.
Breakthroughs in business don't always come where, they're not always just a standard lead. Down in Austin, my greatest referral source for 32 years was a fellow who never bought anything from me.
Really?
No, he never bought one
amazing.
thing from me, but he's
Wow.
referred me a substantial, and I mean substantial amount of income to my family the last 32 years.
Wow.
And I'm thankful for it. Thank goodness I didn't have a sales mentality.
Right.
He was just a guy I met. I liked him, invited him to dinner with my wife, brought his girlfriend. We became friends. I'm in his wedding. We travel all over the country the next 30 years. Now his kids are getting married. Like, I've been there for all of it.
Wow.
But it never occurred to me to try to sell him what I do. And it never occurred to him to ask to buy anything. And I figured he knew what I did for a living.
Sure.
And next thing you know, over $1 million worth of paid referrals come into my family without me asking. And so success can be found in places you're not looking. And the Bong Group, and why you're here, and Kenneth, why you and I are here, is see the people. And what we're doing here on the Cashflows podcast is talk to the people.
Right.
And we're excited to introduce you to the people because, 12,000 members in the Bong total between the two cities. And you're our lone sports broadcaster.
I'm it.
You're it, man.
Wow. Exclusive club.
Yeah.
You have dominated the space,
All
and
right.
if we do have an award for the top sports broadcasting, business, I
Pretty much a shoe-in.
pretty
Pretty
much a shoe in.
I cornered the market without even trying. I love this.
And I want to say dominated the market. So
I'd say,
congratulations. What did it take to get from the bottom to the top? Way to go.
Join the
Well,
Bong.
listen, so this is fascinating that you've started what is essentially your own, what do we call it, a radio show, TV show? It's visible, it's TV.
It's visible. Yeah, it is. It's basically an internet-based broadcast service. So in sports, that just specializes in sports because we like sports, and that's what really kind of got me involved. And really, it took off because I started calling companies that are in the business. Right.
Mhm.
I'm not going to call them out by name because that's just unprofessional. But I started asking them, if I give you guys a broadcast, what's entailed? How much do I owe you guys? And I was getting quoted $10,000, $15,000 per broadcast. I'm like, ooh, that's a little bit out of my budget, guys.
Wait,
Just
they
a
wanted
hair.
to charge you for the broadcast?
They did. And I was like,
Oh.
I'm providing you guys content, right?
Sounds backwards.
It does. It does. And I was like, well, I think I'm going to take a different approach to this because a lot of people are starting to cut the cable, cut the cord.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
We're starting to go to apps. And this was back before apps were really big. So I kind of saw the writing on the wall. I was like,
Right.
we should go and pivot to maybe a Facebook Live. YouTube's doing great at this
Yeah.
time. They were just getting started on Reels and such, and some of the live broadcast. And I was like, why don't we step it up to where we can send it out simulcast in a different light, right? All at the same time. So that way we can
Yeah.
garner audiences from different platforms
Right.
and really bring them in. That's where it kind of got started. We were kind of the pioneers on that one. Us and I got to give out a shout out to a colleague of mine, a close colleague of mine, probably one of the closest because when we started doing this, we were the only two that we knew of across the country that were doing this.
Right.
And that's Eric Sherem out of Lawton. He runs the Oklahoma Sports Network,
Hmm.
and they've been successful. They've got like 13, 14 different high schools from Oklahoma,
Wow.
from Oklahoma City market all the way down to Lawton market, and it's
Hmm.
just been killing it.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. And so him and I will talk shop all the time and be like, hey, what about this? Here's an idea. We sell each other ideas, and that's about it. That's the only thing we sell each other on. And that's, I think, the philosophy that I wanted to go into with all business partnerships. I don't want to sell you airtime. I want to sell you an idea and let you garner it to see, is it a good fit for us or can
Right.
you use this somewhere else? And if
Right.
it's a good fit for us, that makes both of us even stronger, not just me trying to sell you something. Here's the airtime and I'll see you in a year.
Right. So walk me through the process of Southern Sports Network working. I'm assuming you have advertisers.
Mhm. We do.
Okay. So and do this in knucklehead version.
Okay.
It was now
Oh,
o'clock
no.
when I learned that iOS stands for Apple. I heard you say
It's an abbreviation. Yeah.
well, I do some debt management. I heard you say IO, and I'm like, wait, what? What does he owe? I owe iOS. What is that's Apple?
Well, I owe. This off to work.
Off to work I go. That's right.
That's
But from start to finish, so you're going to broadcast a game.
Yep.
How do you do that? I mean, you take like a backpack full of cameras. What does it
Ooh.
look like when you get there? Are you? I mean,
It depends on the size of the event. Now, typically, our bread and butter is going to be football. Always has, always will be. We're enamored in it, especially
Mhm.
high school football. We
Right.
love it. The one and only right now as we speak, the client that we have in Oklahoma is Catoosa High School,
okay.
a 4A program. There's not a whole lot of 4A programs that are broadcasting like we are for them
Right.
because we'll bring out all the guns. We're bringing out 6 different, maybe 8 different cameras.
Oh, so this is a full-on production.
It is a full-on
Okay.
production.
In my
And
brain, you're up in the stands going, "Go, Ernie."
I wish it were that simple. That'd be nice,
Okay.
but no.
okay. I've got a different view of it. Then.
No, it's really kind of like, remember back in the day, back in the early '80s, whenever you have these metal shows that were, they were in small clubs, but they wanted to bring a big arena feel to the small clubs. That's kind of what we're doing in a sense,
Mhm.
is that we're bringing a big production to the smaller venues
Right.
like 4A, which, Catoosa right now, they've got like a 6A set up there. If you've ever seen their football stadium,
Wait,
it's nice.
hang on real quick. How many A's is good?
In
Like
in this
what's the A rating? Do you know?
in
I
this
don't.
Yeah.
state, it's 6A is the highest.
Okay.
Um, I think the lowest is like C, and that's like farm clubs that have been, farm communities that have like 3 or 4 different farming communities all in one. They might
All right.
have 200 people in their school. That's
Oh
about
yeah.
it, right? And then you get to like 6A, you got Broken Arrow, you've got the
Okay.
Wassos.
So 4A is still a pretty good sized school.
It is.
It's not like the farm league where it's, hey Ernie, throw it to me, I'm open.
No.
Okay.
No, just a little bit smaller communities. But you have like Wagner in the high school football around here, they put out NFL talent. They're
Wow.
putting
Nice.
out, high D1 talent. I mean, these guys are doing
Wow.
really good. So we start to get into that kind of sense. So when we go to Catoosa, we're like, all right, well, we've got our own press box section. We've got the whole works. So
Wow.
it's really starting to come to, and we're starting to build from it. So my rig is basically a trailer full.
Okay.
It's pretty big. Now we get some smaller schools like 3As and so on and so forth. We'll have a single camera, 2 cameras. We'll have a
Right.
producer, a director, color commentator, and play-by-play. That's pretty much it. You
Mhm.
don't need much more than that whenever it comes to smaller
Got it.
schools.
And do these schools they pay you to come out or vice versa?
Kind of, it depends on the contract. We've got away from just giving it to them solely outside of just the early ones, the ones that signed
Mhm.
up with us early.
Right.
We didn't charge them a dime just to get our feet wet into
Yeah,
it.
just to get started, sure. But
Right.
now you're
But
started.
But now we're started. And so we do charge some of the high schools. We're like, hey, just take care of the labor. We got everything else.
Right.
And it's a win-win for them because they know they're going to get quality.
Yeah.
They know we're going to show up because
Mhm.
we're enthusiastic and we're getting paid.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, it's a great relationship because the expectations are already drawn out.
Right.
And then we can get more involved into the community. The
Mhm.
booster clubs have become a big thing for us
Mm.
because we get involved with them and say, hey, we're not trying to sell too much to you guys, but it does take a little bit of money. So let's
Mhm.
get the community involved. You guys have influence. You can raise money to bring it in.
Mhm.
And it's even better for your advertisers because now they're getting seen from Aunt Vera all the way out from Florida
Right.
to
Right.
all the other community members around town. And like, wait a minute, we've got a huge deal here for our small school. Why aren't the other schools doing it? Well, we offer something that the other schools can't do.
Got it. So Aunt Vera down in Florida can watch her nephew
Yeah,
in a Catoosa football game
that's right.
and not have to come to Catoosa.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, she doesn't have to board the plane, have to deal with TSA, which
So
That's a story.
that has an application that's actually very broad.
it is.
Bec- I mean, as people with families, they want to see their families perform.
Yeah.
I work in the world of BMX racing.
Yep.
And there's 29 great big national events that are all 2 and 3 days.
Yeah.
But it's hard to take a relative and just for the fans.
Yep.
Just for the fans alone that are trying to watch those events, I would see a massive application.
It is because not only are we being streamed that way, but even in-house. We're
Mhm.
fixing to do the 58th annual Port City Classic basketball tournament in Catoosa, which I think they're hosting 8 or 10 different high schools from across the state
Wow.
that are competing here. And this is one of the oldest basketball tournaments in the state.
Wow.
So it's kind of a big deal, especially for a smaller school like 4A, but we're bringing in 5A and even 6A talent to come play at this basketball tournament. So all bets are off. They'll have it broadcasting while the game's going on because we're offering a lot of graphics. We're putting out replay. We're doing the whole
Mhm.
smorgasbord of stuff that you want to see on a broadcast,
Right.
and they're seeing it there. So we're starting to see a little bit more of, hey, let's do this live here also, on top of complementing what's really going on live.
I think this is brilliant.
Oh yeah.
So you started a TV channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way we receive television today is in the old days we had channels 4, 5, and 9 through the antenna.
Yep.
So how media is delivered has changed a great deal.
It has.
First through the antenna on the house and the
Right.
vice grips on your thing to change the
Right.
channel.
Or yourself holding the antenna
Yeah.
and getting
Yeah.
your arm out.
Right.
You know, like,
Little
Then
dial up.
we went to dial up was away.
yeah.
Then cable comes onto the scene, and now we're delivering,
So, yeah.
Yeah.
and then everything's Bluetooth.
Right.
Like this is fascinating. Like you're on the front edge of something that hasn't been done much.
Right.
I'm sure people have talked about it,
They have.
but you fired, aimed, then ready.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's okay. That's
Pretty much.
these are the kind of people we're getting, Ken.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
awesome.
And it all started, honestly, this idea and concept on ours. I used to be a replay official for the Pac-12. So when I was up at a UW, I think it was UW USC game back in the mid 2015, something like that. It's been a while. And as being part of the replay system and setup there, you're always talking to producers. You're
Mhm.
always talking to them because you're at their mercy. They're
Right.
giving you the video feed, and we used a company device called DV Sport, which kind of cut it up for us, and it made it a lot easier for us to be able to see the footage. They'll have something like, 10, 12, 14 camera angles for each D1 school.
Yeah.
And you'll have different producers and everything that come in. So they got this huge trailer, their production truck, sometimes two,
Mhm.
and they have it all decked out. Oh, it's so gorgeous.
Yes.
All the toys. Oh, they got video screens out and everything, and they've got a multitude of different players there that are helping out in their respective roles and all. And I started thinking, hey, wouldn't it be kind of cool if we condense this down a little bit and did this for high school? Because you don't see
Mhm.
this in high school very much, unless it was like
Right.
ESPN3 or ESPN8, the Ocho.
The
or
Ocho,
something.
yeah.
I was like, well,
I'm glad we all have that reference point.
I love that movie too. Some of those old sports movies, even basketball, that was a bad movie, but it's still fun to watch.
Wait, that was a bad movie?
Well,
I'm
according
gonna-
to Al Michaels, it was.
I've got to rethink some things.
Oh man.
But we got to that point, and I was like, all right, well, I have a background in this, and I went to school for it, but I never did anything with it. And I was
Right.
like, maybe now's the time. And it just kind of hit me with the inspiration. I was like, well, if God intended me not to do this, I would have been dead by now because I'm doing this.
Mhm.
Right.
So here we go.
Right.
Aim, ready, fire, or fire, ready, aim.
Yeah, fire first.
I'm dyslexic too, I guess.
Okay. Well, around here we believe in dog.
There we go.
We're dyslexic. Funny.
Ah,
The dyslexic
Ba-dum-tsh.
atheist who didn't believe in dog. Okay.
there we go.
I'm going to go right over here and shut up.
Well,
and
so anyway.
continue this lovely interview with a really cool story. So you're a sports guy growing up then? I mean, you have to love sports to do this,
Yeah, I grew up in a family that was enthralled with the OU Sooners.
right?
I mean, they were enthralled. They were not just fanatics. I mean, they were all in it. They are yelling at the TVs. I mean, practically wanting to hit the TV when something goes bad. I've never seen these two men in my life, my dad and my grandpa, ever get so furious in my life unless it was behind two things. Behind the wheel of a car because they were maniacs driving, or at an OU football game.
Wow.
And so growing up around that, I kind of sat back. I didn't yell at the TV. I just tried to understand.
Right.
And so I was like, well, there's a story to be had here. I mean, these guys are nuts. But why are they nuts? Why is this game mattering so much to them that they're going to yell and practically destroy their TV sets if something doesn't right happen? So I started really trying to learn it from a psychological aspect. And I took that approach, and I was thinking, why do people kind of get really fanatical about this? Well, it's something that they can't control, but at the same time, they can get around because they like the sport so much, and then there's a big community around it too,
Yeah.
and we got all sorts of smack talk, and it just grew from there. And from the late 80s to now, we've seen these communities explode.
Right.
For everybody from the Alabamas in the world, Florida States, OU, even little brother OSU.
Right.
Mhm.
Not a knock. I'm sorry, guys, for those of you that are Cowboy fans. But hey, the rivalry kind of tells you, you got 20 wins over the lifespan. Okay, it happens. But anyway,
Yeah. Well,
that's where it kind of really.
well, that
started.
answers the why sports broadcasting question because you grew up around watching sports.
Yeah.
And there is such a connection to sports. When I lived down in Austin, that rare time I would see somebody in an OU shirt or hat, like we're immediately friends. I didn't, hey, Boomer Sooner, brother. And
Yep.
they're like, Boomer Sooner.
Boomer Sooner.
And OU is a great place to root for.
Yeah.
Because the whole entire fight song is the word Boomer Sooner.
That's right.
I think it has the word yeah at the end.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. So very, very, very cool. So advertisers come on. So you do a show at a football game or basketball game.
Mhm.
And it's like in normal watching ESPN where they have the sport, the commentary, the playback,
Yep.
and advertisers.
And advertising too. And it's a great way for our guys to take a sip of water at least, because unlike the NFL or unlike NCAA, we don't have what's called a red hat. That is an individual that's going to be on the field that goes out to the official. He wears a red hat, so there you go.
Right.
He's wearing a red hat just to be seen, and he flags down the head official, basically the referee, and says, "Stop the play," or not stop the play, but stop after the play. And they'll have a commercial break.
Right.
And he's on the headset with the production truck, and the production truck's telling him, all right, we got 3-minute block. So they're going through the whole thing, and they're like, all right, 30 minutes, and he's doing hand signals to the official, let him know, 15 seconds. He backs off, they go back into it. We don't have that luxury.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't have the finances for that yet.
Right.
But if you would like to.
Kenneth could be the guy.
Yes. Kenneth.
Sponsors can call us in the studio at
Yes.
918-555-1234.
That's right. Our Red Hat sponsor of the day. So what we do is we break it up in about 45-second spots.
Right.
That's the magic number right there between, end of a quarter or something like that. So we can add those in. We know the magic numbers already. So we can tell our advertisers, hey, you're going to be seen a minimum of 2 times for each broadcast, a minimum, because there's all sorts of different breaks and everything. Sure. You have halftime. You have post-game shows. We do a pre-game show, too.
Wow. Okay.
We produce that during the week, and we add that right before.
Well, speaking of sponsors, why don't we go take a quick break and talk to one of our studio sponsors? Kenneth, who do you have today?
All right, today we're going to talk about CM Customs. Embark on a custom journey into the realm of affordable custom gifting and branded excellence with CM Customs. From custom trophies to personalized closing gifts, lake maps, drinkware, and professional branded items, we are your go-to for unmatched customization, making you the hero of every occasion. Learn more at shopcmcustoms.com.
Those guys are cool.
They are cool.
They make a thing. They make a cutting board that you can engrave like grandma's recipe on it or something like that. And, man, what a cool guy Clarence Shaw is. cmcustoms.com. Shop CM Customs. Thank you. We're glad they're one of our sponsors. So we have a semi-live show, and we have technical issues from time to time, mostly bodily functions. Sorry we said that on your show, but we had to say it. What do you guys do when there's like a breakdown mechanically? What's it like when things just go haywire? Does that happen? What does that look like?
Oh, you know what? Every live production is going to have it. It's not a matter of time or if or when. It will.
Yeah.
All the time. There's something that's going to go wrong. And perfect example of that was we did a huge one called the Battle of Highway 62, and it's a football game. It's in Arkansas. One of our teams out there is Prairie Grove, and they were playing Farmington. This is the oldest rivalry in Arkansas, so the expectations couldn't be any higher. And we're getting everything set up to do a 2-hour-long pregame show live.
Oh, okay.
Right. And we've got our production tent and everything on the ground and getting everything set up. We got cameras and everything ready to go. We got the way the patch in and everything. We get it all done about 30 minutes before we go live. And, well, one of our systems goes completely haywire. It's our main system, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no big deal.
So, yeah, no big deal. So we go ahead, and what we'll do is we'll take a 2-minute rant. And we'll go off and we'll go cussing, hitting things, finding people, beat them up, and then come back to it. No, actually, no. We just by now we're like, all right, well, this is what happens. We build in redundancies just in case.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so we're like, all right, well, unfortunately, we're going to scale this down and we'll take it down to one camera. We'll put that on wireless to kind of throw it in there, and we'll flag it between back and forth and send it that way. So we've found just about everything that could go wrong will go wrong, and we really build those in.
Right.
So that way it's not that big of a hassle. It's more of a bummer, we're not going to be able to do what we really wanted to do, but nobody's going to know.
Right.
And so that's pretty much it. Early on, it was a panic. It was like, what are we going to do? Oh no.
Yeah.
That all changed, actually. I brought in my partner in crime, Stephen Blackiston. He's been with me since day 2. And kind of like the people early on, that they had to have some sort of enthusiasm,
Sure.
Which is, I think, ethos, which is a Greek word that means infected by the gods, right? And he was just as infected as I was. And I went to the University of Arkansas and was like, hey, I need to get some talent. And I had this idea that maybe I can find communications majors that are just as infectious as I am on this, bring them in, train them up, let them have an outlet while they're going to school. And that way they can add it to the resume
Sure.
of saying, I've been in the thick of this. Not only did I go to school for this, but I was with this crazy guy. And let me tell you, anything that could go wrong would go wrong. It did go wrong. We figured it out. We were able to be successful. That right there matters more than anything else coming out of college, is that experience to be able to do
Yeah,
it.
the ability to
Mhm.
adapt and overcome.
Right. And so those soft skills are only learned being boots on the ground. So
Yeah.
I brought Steven on, and he was one of the most cool-minded guys in the thick of it. He's the kind of guy that you want to take into the war. When everything goes to crap,
That's your guy.
nothing's working, this is your guy.
Wow.
And so I found my guy. I'm like, I'm going to do everything I can to keep this guy.
I don't blame you. Very cool.
Yeah.
And so after that, everything else just kind of fell into place. We had some issues here and there down the road as far as, we'd have something that fails down and be like, all right, let's just think about this. Let's do it this way. And boom.
So, technicalities aside, what's the hardest part about doing this thing that you're doing that is magnificent, by the way?
I would say the hardest part is the advertisers themselves. And it's not themselves, it's just finding time to be able to go out and try to sell and forge those relationships to say, trust me, I have something great. I think it would work for you.
Right.
Those times are really tough because I've got so many other things too going on.
Right.
Managing this whole operation and homeschooling for the first time too.
Wow, congratulations.
I'm sorry.
No, that's beautiful. You said you had a small farm as well, so
I do.
you've got your hands full. Just running any business is hard.
It is.
But this one sounds like an extra kind of hard.
It is. It really is. But I wouldn't trade it for the world because, again, I'm still infectious. I probably will do this until my last breath.
Right. So what all sports do you guys cover at the moment, and where do you see this heading to?
After COVID, we noticed a few things. We started getting calls from like USA Pickleball. I've
Oh,
never
yeah.
heard of pickleball until then.
I tried it once. I don't know much about it, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
I looked at it the first time. I was like, okay, so it's like ping pong and tennis.
Yeah,
This looks like fun.
it is a lot of fun.
If my knees were better, it'd be even more fun. But the conditions of my knees are not great. But yeah, it was really cool. So I was like, yeah, let's give it a shot. Again, never knew anything about it. We did a hardcore study on it, and then we started calling people about, what is pickleball and can you give us some guidance? So we actually brought them on to our first pickleball broadcast, which happened to be a qualifier for USA Pickleball down in Dallas. We're like, this is insane, but let's do it. And
Wow.
it turned out great.
So pickleball, football, basketball.
Basketball. We picked up some pro wrestling. Oh,
All right.
that's a sport. Let me tell you, that one's starting to pick up here again.
Pro
Wow.
wrestling, like wrestling, kind of, the
Wrestling?
Gorgeous George kind of thing.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Yeah. The stuff that we grew up on, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Remember the Texas leagues back in the day?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Von Erichs and all
the
that.
Von Erichs. Yeah, big fan.
Big fan. Well, and I would go catch that kind of stuff when I was living in Lawton back in the day at the Great Plains Coliseum. I was there. It was fun. That's starting to pick up. And so now we're starting to do some of those broadcasts, especially in the wintertime whenever we're slower and so on and so forth. It's a great time to be able to do this because it's an indoor sport. Let's
Right.
do it. So we're picking that up. Continuing on with semi-pro football too.
Wow.
I'm starting up our own, I want to say video podcast, if you will.
Right.
Weekly show starting on Wednesdays on a sister platform called Semi-Pro Saturday. And it's really just specific for that.
Hmm.
And
Do you guys have a relationship with any of the local sports team, the Tulsa Oilers? I know they have basketball and hockey and
football.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
and baseball.
actually, I'm glad you brought that up because we have started garnering great relationship with the football side.
Yeah.
What we had done this past year was beta tested an idea that a couple of us came up with one night and said, hey, wouldn't that be cool if we took some of the best semi-pro football players and played a game in front of these professional guys, right? The coaches and the staff to find the diamond in the rough. What do you think about that? Like, yo, that'd be really cool.
Right.
What else could we do with it?
Right.
All right, well, why don't we make it a charity? Raise money for the school that would help us out the most. Well, Catoosa's right here, guys. Let's do this. And so we're like, all right, let's raise money. What for? I mean, I know the school needs money, but what specifically for? And then our wives were actually with us at that time. And the wives are like, hey, how about this? Remember a couple years ago during COVID, nobody had to pay for school lunches? Like, oh, let's do that. Okay.
Right.
So this past year, we went to the Marriott downtown. It's one of the Marriotts. I think it's Courtyard. And we did a live draft of 124 of the best semi-pro football players in the nation and some arena players as well, and divided them up into two teams. One of the team owners is Billy Perry. He goes by Billy Vesco, and he's a huge TikTok star here out of Broken Arrow, actually.
Wow.
I think he's got 15 million followers. His whole platform is better parenting. So great guy. I mean, amazing guy. Great stories and everything to go along with it, too. Another guy was a Hall of Famer in semi-pro football as well. So we split them up into two different teams with coaching staffs, not only from semi-pro, but also from the Oilers, from the Oklahoma Aces out of Enid,
Right.
a couple of the other arena teams around here, too. And we raised enough money to be able to pay off the school lunch debts for Catoosa back in October.
Very cool.
We're going to continue this on. We're going to build it up every year. And so the relationships that we're garnering right now with the semi-pro football teams and the arena teams are really starting to come full force.
You know, we did our first arena game last year. We have a relationship with the Tulsa team, and one of their people is a member of the B.O.N.G group.
Oh, no kidding.
And they've been, they realize that integrating with very large groups is a great thing for both our group and their group. And so, just a few weeks ago, a bunch of us, 77 of us, went to the hockey game.
Nice.
And, really nice time. And they treated, my wife got to drive the Zamboni.
No kidding.
Yeah. So we're all up there going, that's my wife down on the Zamboni.
Sweet.
First time I've ever seen her work.
Oh, there it is. You need to add a symbol to that one, Kenneth.
Yeah, it's in there. It's just a little quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna, can we don't have any post-edit function, do we?
Producer's note, insert symbol crash here.
There you go. I like that.
My wife is sweet, and she did a great job on the Zamboni, and I'm very, very proud of her.
Oh, yeah.
But,
And hockey's so fun to watch, too.
Yeah.
It's one of the most violent sports that's legal, and I love it. I'm here for it.
We had the best time. Like, I had never been to a hockey game, and they had this one part where they throw animals out on the ice, stuffed animals, not real animals. And then the gladiator
I've got a
showed
goat
up.
back at the ranch that we could throw. It's been kind of a pain in my butt.
We had more fun. It was one of the best times we've had. And
wow.
with 77 people from the B.O.N.G group, and a lot of them families who otherwise may not have been able to go, but for the relationship with the Oilers, man, it was fantastic.
That's outstanding.
And we enjoy doing stuff, so I hope that relationship continues.
I hope so, too. We're going to be there for some of the games, too, personally. And we might actually go out and maybe do an extra podcast just for fun to be able to go out there and interview fans and players and such like that, just to kind of get more involved with that sector of sports, too, because I love indoor football. I remember watching it back in the day. It's total side note on this one. I've been involved with football in many different things. I've been a player. I played semi-pro football myself until, several years back, where it's just, the body tells you when to quit.
Yeah, you'll know.
I definitely will know. And so I started doing more of administrative work and so on and so forth. Well, one time I was like, during the crash, and I predicted the crash because I was in commercial finance at that time with zoning and planning and so on and so forth. And we seen our job numbers just plummet real fast. We're seeing it again right now, but we noticed that we needed to do something else. We needed to make it more encompassed in-house. So I started the Oklahoma Metro Football League, which is like 5 or 10 different semi-pro teams in Oklahoma City itself. And we had a trade agreement with the Oklahoma City football team at that time. It was called the Yard Dogs. And they played out of the Ford Center, which turned into the Pequot Center. So we would always kind of go back and forth, kind of trading notes, seeing stuff. I think Gary Reasons was, I don't know if you know Gary Reasons. I don't think I do. He used to be a big-time NFL player. I think he played linebacker, but huge in the football community. He ran the team. And so we would go back and forth all the time watching those guys and being enthralled with what they're doing on the field. I mean, it was really entertaining because it was fast-paced. We'd never seen anything like that before, and it really started catching up. I mean, tacking on real fast. And I think it's about to hit another gear.
We enjoyed it. We had a great time. We didn't know any of the players. We didn't know who to root for. But man, they gave us some nice seats, and a bunch of there's 20 of us there watching the game.
Yeah.
And man, do we have a good time.
Oh, it's always a great time.
Yeah. So let's as we start to wrap up here, I want to get your opinion on what's going on in college football right now, because there's we got to watch Georgia dismantle Florida State,
Yeah.
but it was Florida State's C team apparently.
Mhm.
And what do you make of this transfer portal thing? Give us just a quick comment on what that's doing to college football.
I think we're in a growing phase right now. You have two phases that are changing, or three phases. You have the NIL, which gives money legally to the
Right.
kids. You have the transfer portal, which gives the kids availability to kind of control their own destiny of where they go.
Right.
Then you have the realignments of the conferences.
Right.
So you have three major things going on at the
Wow.
same time. The NCAA has got their hands full, and I don't
Sure.
think they've got the staffing to be able to control it right now. But what they really need to do, in my opinion, just in that one particular spot, is they need to say, let's not have any movement until after the national championship game happens and done. That goes for coaches, that
Right.
goes for players, that goes for staff across the board, and say, open it up. If we want to mimic the NFL, kind of what they're doing right now,
Hmm.
then mimic the NFL and say, all right, well, from this time to this time is when you can have movement.
That's when the portal is open.
Yes.
Yeah.
And closes at a specific time.
Right.
You get all your NIL deals and go
Mhm.
from there. One thing to add on the NIL deals, which I wish they would do, is I wish there would be a contract stating, if I'm going to give you money out of this NIL super PAC, is pretty much what it is anyway, you have to sign a contract to stay with that team a minimum of 2 to 3 years.
Right.
That'll slow the
Mm.
portal down a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm, there's not a Florida team I root for.
No,
Um,
no.
I've just grown up being a Sooner fan and hated Miami and Florida State, Florida, and healthy respect for teams like Nebraska. But I hated the Florida teams, and
Yeah.
so watching Florida State get thrashed. But even when the Georgia coach came back out and said, "Man, this is not right,"
Yeah.
we did not beat Florida State.
No.
We beat a team with their jerseys on. But we're taking away somehow the the rivalries, and we're doing that with realignment as well.
We are.
And I hate to see that, but the OU OSU game, I guess, is going away.
The Bedlam game is going away right now. I can see it coming back in a few years, but I think with the athletic directors and in the time was the biggest thing, right?
Right.
Because schedules have already been produced for the next 5 years. So it's
Right.
hard to plug and play and say, hey, we're moving, even though they
Mhm.
knew a few years ago, we're moving, but give us some time to put that back together. I'd like to see it. I still would like to see OU Nebraska again, but I
Oh
don't see
man,
that
greatest, some
happening.
of the greatest football ever.
Gosh,
It'd be
it
neat
was.
if Oklahoma played Oklahoma State for the national title.
It would.
And we could be like in Norman, like here in our nation's capital, Norman, Oklahoma.
Hey.
All right, we
Land of the
are
free, home of the Sooners. Hey.
we are with Chris Dodson with the Southern Sports Network. Chris, do you have a nugget that any business owner or person at life might enjoy?
I would say stress is always going to be there no matter what. So you might as well do something that you enjoy doing, that you're enthused with, that you can see yourself doing for the rest of your life,
Mhm.
and commit to it and give it all that you got. Even if you fail at it, even if you suck at it now, keep going. Just like anything else in life, you're going to get better with practice. Keep going. You'll get there. That's my advice.
Beautiful advice. Stick with it. We're here today with Chris Dodson, southernsportsnetwork.net. You can find the app. Now, we can see all of your sports on the app, right?
Absolutely. You can see it there. You can see it on YouTube. You can see it on Facebook. I mean, we're everywhere. We're going to continue doing a simulcast like that so we can pick up different
Hey, the world is
audiences.
changing, and we're getting up close access to different teams, and
Yeah.
hopefully BMX racing here soon. I don't know.
I'd love it.
Maybe we talk about that
Yes.
over the next thing. But we're here today with Chris Dodson, and so thankful that you came in to join us. You want to wrap this sucker up?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, then I guess that's a wrap for the show. And we are thankful for Chris joining us today. We're thankful for our sponsors. And we're thankful for you being here, having a look and seeing what's going on over at Cashflows. It is a crazy world out there, and keeping things going the right direction can sometimes be difficult. Cashflows is a place where you can come and learn a little bit more about a few more things. Like Chris just said, find something that you love and stick with it. And I think that's beautiful advice. And here's some more advice. You know what? Let's be nice to each other. Let's consider one another. And today, for no apparent reason, why don't we just find one person to forgive that absolutely does not deserve it and forgive them anyway? Because forgiveness is not about them. Forgiveness is designed for you, that you don't have to carry that heavy burden around your neck for all time, that you can let it go. And I think there's beauty in that we're all forgiven and that we can forgive others. So let's wrap this thing up. And to our three buddies out there, Stu Bob, Dennis, Hink Dog, hey fellas, Thank you for liking our post every day on the Facebook. And we just got the notice that jerky is on sale half off at the Quick Trip, and we'll jump in the truck. We'll be right over. Thank you guys for being at Cashflows. This show is for you, and we're glad you're here.
That's our show for today. Stay tuned for another riveting edition of Cash Flows.